Greetings again, YouTube. Grave Mistake here. I wanted to show you a quick little tutorial on a way you can repurpose some bottle caps to actually make an extremely good lure. I use this lure for everything from specks, flounder, works great on bass. But let's go ahead and hop into this. Alright, so basically what you're going to need for this build is you're going to need a bottle cap, a hook, the size and the style of your preference. For this I'm going to go ahead and use a treble hook. I like using those on these lures. Some snap rings if you have them. If you don't, there's a couple other ways you can do this, and I'll talk about that through the video. And a swivel. But once again, if you're not going to really use the snap rings, or even if you do use snap rings and you don't have a swivel, you can actually still get by without it. It just helps complete it and make it a little bit nicer and a little bit better, especially if you're going to reuse it a few times. These lures do last basically until you end up getting snagged and lose it. But the nice thing about these lures is the cost. For making one of these lures, your standard cheap off-brand Taiwan-made crap lure that you buy at Walmart for like $3, you can probably make about 10 to 20 of these lures. But let's go ahead and hop into it. One of the first things you're going to need to do is get your bottle cap. Once you get your bottle cap, there's a couple different ways you can pop these holes. You're going to need to make 2 holes into this bottle cap. I actually find instead of drilling, it's a lot safer and a lot easier just to go ahead and get yourself something sharp. A nail works great. I'm using a piece of round bar that I grounded down into a spike. These work great for punches, and basically they're free. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop 2 holes into this, and you want the holes to be as lined up as possible. An easy way to do this, for some reason with Bud Light bottles, well, Bud Light caps, is you line it up off the bottom of the word light, because that's actually in the center of this cap. Or if you want to just try to guesstimate, you can do that too. But try to make it as straight as possible. Pop 2 little holes, 1 on each side, and once you get that done, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and attach your snap rings. You're going to attach your snap rings to the holes that we just made. One thing that you can do whenever you, instead of drilling these, if you actually puncture them, the nice thing is it pushes and rolls the metal outwards, so you don't end up with a sharp lip inside there if you're not using the snap rings and you're just using string running through the 2 holes. But if you're still paranoid about it, you don't need to, but you can take the same punch you made the hole with and just barely wallow it around, and it will help roll that metal out the way. Just like that. And that's it. So now that you got your bottle cap with 2 holes, what you're going to do is, to speed this up, I went ahead and already put the snap rings on this. But you're going to take your bottle cap and you're going to attach your snap rings to the 2 holes that you just made. So it's going to end up looking just like this with your two split rings or snap rings. And this is what you're going to end up with. Oops, sorry. So pretty simple so far. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your swivel, and you're going to attach your swivel to one of the snap rings on one side and your treble hook to the other side. And from this, what you will end up with is something that looks like this. Now from this point here, we're almost done. Now we're getting to the easiest part of all. What you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and start folding this over. You're going to bend it right, you're going to apply pressure on this point and this point, and it's going to bend right there along that line. Now, I got big old fingers and big old hands, so it's real easy for me to normally bend these right on over. If you're like my wife and you got a little more delicate fingers, what you can do is you can grab any kind of pliers, needle nose, pretty much anything, and it will just bend right over pretty easy. But you don't want to go ahead and close it all the way. You want to stop right about here, because here is where we're going to go ahead, and if you don't like a rattle, you can leave it just like this or go ahead and bend it the rest of the way. But I find it that even in saltwater, me having that rattle really helps attract the fish. Now for the rattle, you can use BBs, which I'm going to use, or you can use split shot, since you probably already have it in your tackle box. So I'm going to take about 4 BBs. You can use a little more if you want, or a little bit less. It's all on your preference. And I'm going to go ahead and insert the BBs right down inside. If I can get my last BB here. And now your BB should be inside here. And what you need to do from here is you need to go ahead and bend it over. You don't have to crimp it to the point where it's completely sealed if you don't want to. Most of the time I don't, because it gives it just a little bit more of a rattle. Normally I just close it just enough that I'm pretty sure that my BBs aren't going to fall out. And then you have your rattle. And your lure is complete. These lures do work great in saltwater. They work great in freshwater. They're super cheap, super easy to make. You're actually repurposing basically some trash. And I know people are like, well, what about everything else? I mean, you can actually make these for free if you do what I do. Every time I go out, I fish on the Texas City Dike. If you fish in areas where it's heavily fished, especially around saltwater, you will find these right here. You will find you'll find lures, but you will find leaders everywhere. And people will cut them off and throw them away whenever they're leaving, when they're perfectly good, just like this one here. I find tons of these all over the place. The other thing is they'll throw them away just because one little snap is broken, but what they're not realizing is they're throwing away perfectly good swivels. There's 2 swivels on this one, and the other snap, which was perfectly good. And you can repurpose this, and a lot of people don't want to take the time and effort into doing it. It doesn't take a lot of effort or time. You just, as you're fishing, you look down and between the rocks, or if you're on the beach, if you find some of this, you just now found basically money. You're saving yourself money from having to go and buy swivels. And if you do this, you'll get to the point where you will almost never have to buy your little tackle. And you're also cleaning everything up, which makes it a little bit nicer. Now, if you are sitting there and you're doing this and you don't have any snap rings, you can actually do these with just string, like this one right here. I was in a rush and I didn't have any snap rings and I was already out fishing, and these work just as good. You just pop one hole in the back. You don't even have to pop the other hole in the front. You go ahead and you take your line, you thread it through the hole, you tie your hook to one end, you tie your swivel to the other, and then on the very front part, what you're going to do is right behind the ball right here, which is, you look, it would be this ball right here. This whole part is going to stay inside the bottle cap. Now it's tied, so you don't have to worry about that, and you're going to fold this right on over around this back loop on the swivel, and you will end up with basically the exact same thing. I just like going ahead and putting the snap rings in there because it does actually make it look a little more presentable when you're showing them off to your friends or somebody wants to borrow one. The other part to this is, it is a great feeling when you make something or you repurpose some stuff and it works better than most of the commercial stuff you can buy. Where I'm at, I like using the Bud Light line caps because of this, what is it called, an altruce color, this green, and along with the silver for a reflectant. It works phenomenal. I've caught everything from flounder to speckled trout, and when I go up to the Natchez or the Angelina or Lake Rayburn, I tear the crud out of bass and white perch. But these work great. Well, don't forget to subscribe. Definitely hit that like button. I got a lot of more homemade lure designs. Let me know if anybody wants any. Go ahead and make this and give me a feedback. Also, don't forget to like me on Facebook. It's Grave Mistake. And do not forget, that's my gamer tag. So if you see me on Xbox Live and you want to play a little Hardline or a little Modern Warfare, don't be afraid to go ahead and click it. Alright, well thank you, and y'all have a great day. Let's grow together.